Rocky Long and San Diego State getting ready for Saturday night when they host UC Davis, the kickoff of the season, man. These first 3 weeks are going to be so exciting. You got a home game, which is, at least from where we sit, a tune-up. Then at Arizona State, then home against Stanford. Coach, what can you tell everybody about UC Davis?
Well, number one, they have a brand new coaching staff from top to bottom. A new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. So we're basing everything we're trying to plan on doing off of their history, where they came from, what they did, where they were at before. And so it's really a guesswork for us. Now, we can watch their players from last year and see what kind of athletes they have, and they have a couple, 3 outstanding athletes that could start for us. But the real concern is that we're young and we can't really put a game plan in. So at least early in the game, we're going to be playing pretty vanilla on both offense and defense and not taking many chances until we try to figure out what they're going to try to do on offense and defense. And then we'll try to get into our game plan based on what we see, and hopefully that our freshmen on both sides of the ball play well enough for us to win. Now, I think this team is a lot like the 2013 team. I said that to the seniors today, where we ended up 8-5 after a bowl victory, but we lost the first game to Eastern Illinois. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of the same scenario. We have 4 true freshmen that are going to play a lot. 2 of them are going to start. We have another 8 redshirt freshmen that are in the 2 deep that will play a lot. And it takes them 3 or 4 games before they're playing like veterans, and we wish we had an exhibition season, but we don't.
Wait a second. You say you have 2 true freshmen, guys that a year ago were playing high school football, 2 true freshmen that are going to start for you. Is that right?
That's right.
And what positions?
Safety.
Both safeties?
Yeah.
There was no filter on that. No. What? Both safeties are true freshmen?
No, we play 5 DBs all the time.
Yeah, but
so they're playing like the strong safety positions, but still, I mean, there's a good chance that someone's going to be running down the field catching a long touchdown pass, and everybody's going to wonder who is supposed to be covering them.
Well, who are these kids? Tell us about these true freshmen that are going to be starting in the secondary.
Darren Hall is from the Inland Empire. I'm trying to remember I think Palm Springs High School. And then Tariq Thompson, who's a local guy from St. Augustine, is the other one.
Wow, 2 true freshmen starting in the secondary for San Diego State.
That's safety.
Yeah, how's that happen?
Well, the truth of the matter, in college football, we couldn't recruit any safeties because we had all those guys that were coming up that were good players. And then last year we were able to recruit maybe 3 or 4 really good young safeties because all those guys were seniors. And that's kind of the way it works in college. They're not going to come to a place and sit on the bench. They're going to go to a place they think they can play early. And I don't blame them, but it's hard to get consistent depth that way.
All right, so 2 starting true freshman safeties in the secondary. How do you feel about this rebuilt offensive line with 4 new starters?
I feel like they're going to be an outstanding offensive line hopefully soon. I think they've made a lot of improvement in camp. They're talented, big, athletic guys that athlete-wise, they're better than what we played with last year. Obviously, they don't have the experience or maybe the strength yet. I think they're going to be really, really good, and I think that since the age of them is such that for the next 3 or 4 years we're going to have an outstanding offensive line. I hope it starts Saturday. My experience tells me it's going to start about the 4th or 5th game of the year.
Rock, what do you think is the strongest position on your team?
Running back and tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those, we've got really good running backs. We've got outstanding tight ends, probably 3 deep at running back, 3 deep at tight end. We have an outstanding fullback. I think we're good at quarterback. I think the receivers are much, much better than they were last year as far as depth. There's quality out there, 4 or 5 deep. There's quality out there, so that gives you a chance. Maybe if our offensive line's not quite as good at opening holes against 10-man fronts, those wide receivers are going to make them pay for that.
Yeah, well, then it sounds like you got a lot more height in your wide receiving core this year.
We do with the redshirt freshmen, and we got 2 redshirt freshmen starting out at wide receiver. One's 6'3", the other one's 6'4". He says he's 6'5", and they're both around 200 pounds. One of them's got decent speed. The other one's really fast.
First time for you as a head coach that you're starting redshirt freshman at both of the wide receiver positions?
Yeah, probably is. I've been told by a very veteran coach when I first started coaching, for every freshman that you play, you lose a game. I hope he was wrong.
Oh.
Well, let's hope he's wrong is right. Rocky Long, San Diego State, taking on UC Davis Saturday night at Qualcomm Stadium. The coach at UC Davis, and you mentioned a new coaching staff, Dan Hawkins, this was a guy who I think many of us remember jumping ship early from Boise State. You know, he was one of those guys that was at the beginning of the Boise State success and left early to take over at Colorado and never really succeeded at Colorado. How did he get back to now what is his alma mater? You have any idea?
Well, number one, he was a commentator for some of the sports people on TV. He bounced around a little bit, and he actually did one of our games on CBS last year as the color commentator on the TV. And I think that with those connections he had, and since he's an alumnus of the school, he wanted to get back into coaching. I think he probably a good choice. I think he's a social guy that recruits really well, and on offense, he's one of those guys that tries to shock you with formations and trick plays and jumbo sets where they put 17 offensive linemen in the game, and then they put 5 wide receivers in the game, and they do some unbalanced stuff where you don't know. They try to hide who's eligible and who's not eligible. So he's kind of a trickster that way. I think he's got a lot of energy. I think he's fun to be around. I think he'll do a great job there.
That'll wear you out, though. I mean, knowing what you just told us, you got to get your team ready for anything.
Yeah, that's where the veterans come in. The veterans can get lined up. I don't know. We already had practice today, and we had 2 long touchdown passes thrown by the scout team because one of our safeties was covering the wrong guy. Now we're giving him all kinds of formations and all that stuff, and I'm sure it's nothing he's ever seen from high school. So we better get the quarterback on the ground before he can throw it.
Yeah. Coach Rocky Long on Scott and BR on the Mighty 1090. You mentioned earlier an exhibition season. I was watching last week, 2 weeks ago as a matter of fact, high school football. And it was a scrimmage, Coach. And it was 2 high school football teams, and they played one half of football. They got done at the end of the half, and then the coaches had a chance to talk to their team, and then they came back for more situational scrimmaging. How come college football teams can't do that?
I have no idea. I love that idea. You know, there are a lot of places they call them carnivals and all that, where 4 teams show up, they play each other for a quarter, so you play 3 different teams in a quarter. In a quarter, you can get a lot of situational things done without anybody getting mad, without a real bad chance of getting anybody hurt. You know, I've always dreamed, and I've mentioned it in some head coaches meetings, and no, it never goes anyplace. But I think, you know, if we got together with UCLA and SC, and we just play each other for a half. I mean, don't keep score. You know, just play third down situations, play first down situations, play coming out situations, play goal line situations. And so nobody watches and nobody cares about the score. It's just you trying to improve your team.
Well, they do it in basketball.
I don't know why we can't do that, but nobody seems to want to.
I know, but remember, how many times have we heard the story? Hey, Stanford's playing San Diego State in basketball at the Jam Center. Nobody's keeping score, and we don't know exactly what's happening. But, I mean, college basketball teams can get together and scrimmage.
Yeah, I think it's the lay of the land now. Everybody's worried about injuries. The way we've adjusted practice is no 2-a-days. There's only a certain percentage of the time that you can actually hit. I think that is the growing sentiment across the country, where it's all concerned for the health of the player. And my opinion is the less you hit in practice, the more guys are going to get hurt on game day.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that, conditioning the body for being hit. Coach, as you guys get started here with this first week, do you guys also go out on Friday nights to high school football games?
Our coaches do, sure do. We send them out to local games. Now, we even send them to L.A. and Orange County and the Inland Empire if we play a night game the next day. If we play an afternoon game, which we never seem to do anymore, we don't send them out. But if we play a night game the next day, they go out to high school games. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Coach, looking forward to Saturday night. I know it's going to be a good crowd, not necessarily because UC Davis is a sexy team, but obviously it's a Sky Show, so people want to get out there and see that and get a chance to look at your team. The first 3 weeks, really exciting. This first week against UC Davis, then at Arizona State, then home against Stanford. Man, there could be a real buzz in the air around San Diego State football should you get a couple of early wins.
Yeah, we got to play well, and I think we're talented enough to do it. I just think the inexperience factor is questionable, and it's got me real nervous, but I'd rather have talent than experienced guys that can't play.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Coach, good luck on Saturday night. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks,
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, Rocky Long, always candid, plenty to talk about.